what's up, guys? What's up? Heading to work. Saturday. Got to work today. It's all good. Got off Monday, though. Started my Chies on All-Pro on Madden. I beat the Packers. Spoilers. Tough game, though. Tough fucking game. Their defense is good as hell. I could barely score. Played some good D, though. They didn't have Jordan Love, dude. They fucking went and got Teddy Bridgewater. Interesting. Anyway, to get into today's topic, I just thought it'd be fun. Let's just talk wrestling games. Wrestling games are some of my favorite video games. I mean, you could argue in general, like, if I had to pick something straight up, it might be wrestling games is my favorite. Like, dude, I play a fuckload of them, and I can put some serious time into them. I'm in a dilemma right now with 2K23. Part of me wants to buy the Series S version. They just put it down to like $30. But then I have to unlock everything again and all that, but it might be fun to do that, I don't know. But I kind of want the new graphics in a way. But then I talked to Wes, and Wes kind of talked me out of it. He's like, yeah, you already have it for PS4, and I don't know if I'd go out and spend money. He's probably right. The PS4 version is totally fine. It's just, when I have to, like, unhook my console, then turn on the PS4, it's kind of annoying. Then you're used to this controller, and I've been really into my Series S. I've been having fun, so it's like I want to play games on it. I don't want to go play a different console. I've been having a lot of fun, man. It's been fun getting into some new games, But wrestling, man, 2K23, I'll start off with that since we brought it up. Dude, if you guys haven't played 2K23 or 22, it's really fucking good, man. I definitely give it a shot. The rosters are ridiculous. If you like legends like I do, and you like to have people like Yokozuna, Papa Shango, 80s Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Doink the Clown, dude, RVD, Umaga, Rikishi, The Rock, John Cena, Batista, Vader. There are so many good people, dude. Obviously, Kane, Undertaker, a whole bunch of different Undertakers. It's so fucking good, man. $1 Million fucking Man, Big Boss Man, Boss Man. They don't have Nails on there yet, though. We're starting a petition. Put Nails in 2K23. Put him on the cover. He needs to have his own wrestling showcase. A showcase is where you go back and do all their matches, and it's all like a cinematic. That'd be fucking hilarious. But yeah, dude, lots of good wrestlers on the game. Dude, it's so freaking good, man. And the fighting and everything is awesome. You've got stamina. You've got... Basically, your life is like a shield. And then once you break that shield, that health bar is down, then you do actual damage to them that stays with them. So, there's reasons to taunt. There's reasons to do things. It's great. The 2K23 and 22, man, good stuff. Dude, you do a universe mode where you just control one superstar. You control everybody if you want, but I like to do just one person. And you go through like a season with them that's never ending. You can start rivalries and everything. Dude, it's fucking awesome, dude. It's so much fun. It's fucking fun as hell, dude. Then, you got the old school stuff, some of my favorites of all time. We'll just start from the top here. You look at NES. On the NES, I have a mad love for WrestleMania Challenge. I like that game. I know people aren't very fond of it. I know it's very basic to today's standards, obviously. But I like it a lot. I thought the roster was really cool, having Andre the Giant on there. I had Rick Rude on there, Mr. Perfect. Ultimate Warrior made a rare occurrence at that time on there. He wasn't in every game. So having him on there was a big deal. Jim Duggan was on there. Lots of kind of more random people are on there. It's pretty cool, dude. That game's awesome. And it controls well. It's nothing insanely awesome or anything, but for NES standards, I think it's pretty good. Then I'm a big fan of the WWF Superstars games on Game Boy. Mostly the first one. The first one's the best one. That one's got Mr. Perfect, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. Who else is on there? Gosh, I think Andre is on there, isn't he? No, maybe not. $1 Million Man's on there. But it's a fun game, dude. You just pick a guy and it's got like promos and everything where they talk back and forth to each other. It's pretty fucking cool, man. It's a fun game. It's a quick play, fun time. Which is like how Game Boy games usually should be, right? You know, I mean, if you were playing on the go, you don't have that much time, you know. And then WWF Superstars 2, it was alright. It was a lot of the same, but it wasn't as good. But it was still a good game. It was awesome. Those are two really good games. WWF Superstars on the Game Boy. Very good. Original Game Boy. So then you make your way to the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Now, I used to be fond of those games. I used to think those were really awesome games, but going back to them is kind of rough. It was one of those things that when they came out, they were awesome. I remember it back in the day. I remember playing at my one of my neighbors, James's house, and I remember wanting to play that game really bad. And he would turn it on, and we had a good time from what I can remember. But going back to it's a little rough. I'm not a big fan of WWF Raw and WWF WrestleMania. And then you have WrestleMania, the arcade game. Now, this is the one that plays like Mortal Kombat and shit. Where it's really off the wall. It's really crazy. You hit somebody and they're bouncing on the mat all crazy and everything like that. You could be the Undertaker and throw ghosts out at people and stuff, like crazy moves. I am not a fan of those games. I know a lot of people like them. That's not my thing. I just don't like them. You know, I was extremely disappointed back in the day when I rented it. And I thought it was going to be this wrestling game, and it was awful. You know, I was really disappointed. And to this day, I'm not a big fan. And then they got over to PS1, and you had like WWF In Your House, which picks right up where like WrestleMania, the arcade game, left off. It's very arcadey. It does have Ultimate Warrior in it and stuff, which is why I did play it. I think I like owned it for a while. I had it for really cheap somewhere. I think back in the day, I don't know if I was doing like FuncoLand still or Media Play, something like that, but I picked it up for real cheap, and I did not like it. I was bored. But then you get into WWF Warzone and WrestleMania, or Attitude. Now, Warzone, back in the day, was awesome. That was a very cool game, but again, you had to like do the moves and this and that. And then Attitude, when it came out, I mean, I told you guys the story about my mom getting it for me and stuff like that. And that was the first time that the entrances were like really, really, really awesome, you know. So I had a lot of fun with Attitude. I even went back to it like a year or two ago on the channel. And I honestly had a fun time with it, but it doesn't age very well though. You know, it definitely has its issues nowadays with do you still have fun with it nowadays when you got 2K23 and other games like that? You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough to go back to. I don't know how much you'd really turn it on other than nostalgia and kind of remind you of it, you know? And then you had stuff like Versus the World, WCW Nitro, WCW Thunder, and WCW Mayhem. Nitro and Thunder, I had those when I was a kid, and I liked them. But going back to them again is extremely rough. And even back then, I didn't play as much as you thought, you know. I played Attitude way more. But I did think that those games were cool at the time. They don't age well now. Like, I would never go back to them. And then, dude, I went back to WCW Mayhem not too long ago. Bro, that game is terrible, dude. Oh, my gosh. Now I know why people don't like that game. It's bad. That game's terrible. And you know what sucks is it has a decent roster. So that's what fucking sucks. The gameplay is really bad, dude. That game's brutal, man. Brutally bad. Versus the World, I never got into it because, again, they didn't have the whole spirit meter figured out, and I'll get into that here in a second. And the roster on Versus the World was just kind of poor, you know. It reminded me of WCW World Tour on the N64. I just didn't like those rosters, dude. They had a bunch of people I didn't even know who the hell they were. You know, I wanted to be the people on the show that I was watching, you know. I think they only had like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Dragon and Ric Flair. They had some of the main people, Lex Luger, but it was garbage for being people that you wanted to be. Otherwise, it was all these like Japanese people and stuff, and you didn't even know who the hell they were, you know? And then you get into the awesome stuff. WCW Revenge, WWF WrestleMania 2000, WWF No Mercy. I mean, the fucking pinnacle of wrestling games, probably. You know, I mean, can still go back to it nowadays. So much fun. Awesome. Revenge, the only thing I hate about Revenge is the fact that you do all these specials to people and they can just kick out and stuff like that. You have to really, again, they didn't have that spirit meter truly figured out yet. When they got to WrestleMania 2000, you would do your specials to people and stuff, and they were gone. Like, they'd be in danger immediately. I don't care if they were just showing green or whatever. They'd be in danger. They'd be done, you know? It was more of like how it should be. Like, finishing moves were finishing moves, you know? Like, you're going to be lucky to kick out. Somebody could run in and you could do 2 specials, 3 specials to somebody, and they're gone. From full health to being pinned. They're done. You know what I mean? Which is how it should be. You know? So they really got the health all figured out when it came to WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. And that's why I always think I give them the edge over, like, Revenge. And I know some people really like that roster and stuff. Hey, Revenge had an awesome roster. At the end of the day, that's an awesome game too, man. It's great. It's awesome. But I also like the Road to WrestleMania and WrestleMania 2000. And that's why that one's like my favorite. Because the Road to WrestleMania is awesome. But anyway, other than that, then you start getting into PS2. Where you start getting the SmackDown games. And I won't go one for one on all of them. A lot of them start to grow together and blend in with each other for me, so I don't really remember which one's which. I remember one of my favorite ones, and I still gotta spend a lot of time with Here Comes the Pain, because everybody says Here Comes the Pain on PS2 is the best. Well, I do own it now, and I can spend some time playing it, so I'm gonna get to that soon. But I want to play 2K23 here soon. But a lot of those on the PS2, PS3, and Xbox 360 and stuff, you know, when they were just SmackDown versus Raw, and then they were SmackDown, you know, Here Comes the Pain, SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth, blah, 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 blah. Some the best ones, in my opinion, on those is when they really understood the universe mode, and then they had stamina built into the game as well, where you actually had to hold like select or something like that to get your stamina back, so you couldn't just keep attacking over and over. Like, they started trying to manipulate the speed of the match, you know, and actually trying to be a little bit more simulation about it, to where you can't just keep going, you know. Oh, and going back real quick, I didn't talk about the PS1 games, SmackDown and SmackDown 2. So I put a ton of time into those games. Those are a little bit more arcadey. But I put a ton of time into those things. And the coolest thing about those games was they kind of shit the bed on the entrance. The rosters were fine. The entrance is where your Titantron was in the background and shit. But one thing they did right was that you could start a season mode and it was never ending. It was never ending. But they didn't have the matchmaking understood yet. Like ranking and number one contender, and every pay-per-view somebody should be betting the heavyweight belt and you should have it up for grabs. I mean, I would go like years where the heavyweight title wouldn't even be on the line. You know what I mean? So it's really fucked up in that way. It completely randomizes it. But nonetheless, though, it was a lot of fun. I put a ton of time into that game. Terrible loading screens, though. Terrible. Like, the loading screens take way too long. But yeah, you get over back to PS2 now. Here Comes the Pain and all this stuff. We'll see how it goes, but I know it picks up a lot of where SmackDown 1 and 2 were, but then it goes further into like letting you walk around backstage, having more story modes. They were really trying to get the story mode part of it going, you know, and have it be like the show. You know, that's what they were trying to do. But yeah, the 360, that was awesome. They had some great ones, man. There was one with Randy Orton on the cover. And I remember I put a ton of time into that. I want to say it was like WWF 13 or something. I put a shitload of time into it. And then, yeah, it got into the 2K stuff. And that's when I picked it back up and started playing it again. I tried 2K19 with Seth Rollins on the cover, and I did not care for that fucking game. I, like, hated it. Because you could only do, like, so many reversals and stuff like that. It was so dumb. So dumb. That game pissed me off. But then they fixed that the next year. Apparently. But I went back to it in 2K22. I took another shot. Loved it. 2K22 was fucking awesome. And then 2K23 now, like I said, is, like, even better. It's so good, dude. 2K23 is one of those that could fuck around and be like one of the best wrestling games ever. Like, for real. The only thing I'll say about it, though, is that's nice about the N64 games, why WrestleMania 2000 to me is like the best, is because it's also like pick up and play. People that don't really know what they're doing, they can still pick it up and relatively easily handle it. You can tell them the controls, and it's not that bad. You know, and that's awesome. So, anyway, guys, that's about my rant on wrestling games. What are some of your favorite wrestling games? Fire Pro, I've never really fucked with, but I tried one of them that somebody sent me once, and I just didn't like it. It was very weird. I didn't get any crazy enjoyment out of it. And I know I didn't bring up WrestleFest and stuff in the arcade. WrestleFest is fucking awesome, dude. But, you know, you can only handle so much WrestleFest. You know what I mean? I can't just keep playing that. It's one of those you go back to once in a while and you put some time in, you know? Anyway, guys, much love to you. Let me know what you like. I'm tired as fuck. I gotta go to work, and I'll talk to you.